Okay, well, welcome back to Tech and Learning Live at ISTE. My name is Kevin Hogan. I'm Content Director for Tech and Learning. And thank you for being part of our first inaugural experiment of broadcasting live from ISTE. After 35 years, celebrating the 35th anniversary of the magazine, we're always trying to kind of practice what we preach and use the technology for our own stuff. We've had a day full of great interviews, everyone from vendors on the show floor to teachers to many of our advisors. And now I have the pleasure to meet with Brian Lewis, the CEO of ISTE itself. So welcome, Brian.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here. I'm glad you guys are here. This is really cool.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of the easiest way to do an interview, because I know that the question that you always get when you go around ISTE is like, what did you see that was cool? So I'll start off with that one. You probably have the best catbird seat of them all to walk around and see stuff. Anything that is especially cool that you've seen versus years past?
Interesting question. You know, there's so much that is cool here, and you're actually making me think of the keynote this morning, Jack Gallagher, who talked about being a parent of a son on the scale of autism, and his theme is sort of a different kind of cool. So what's cool to one of us is maybe different, and he had to learn how his son was cool in a different way. I think there's so much that is cool here, but to me, I would say the coolest thing now, being a part of the team for 3 years, is I'm getting to know more people, and I'm getting to get a greater sense of the community after 3 years and the work that we do to nurture that community. And to me, what's cool is the community itself. I mean, it may sound kind of trite, but every time I come to this conference, certainly throughout the year with all the folks I get to work with, but certainly I come to the conference, what's cool is just this unbelievable passion and commitment to one another and students. It's the coolest thing of all.
Yeah. Talk a little bit more about that community and how it works. This is my 10th year attending ISTE, and kind of have watched both folks on the show floor and then maybe kind of more of your senior level people in meetings and in other places.
Sure.
Talk about the dynamic of who's influencing the districts and who's influencing the use of technology. Is it more and more you see from the bottom up versus the top down?
Well, you know, it's a shifting conversation now where there's a greater understanding that it takes the team and everybody on it to make it work, right? So we have this greater awareness. There's several things I think happening sort of all at once after years of this conversation. There's a greater awareness than ever of the critical role of a really effective leader, right? We know that that's so important. We also know that teachers have got to be integral, are integral to that conversation, to that plan, to that strategy, that conversation. How are we going to do this in our schools? And this notion of distributed and shared leadership or role or engagement in figuring that out, I think we're coming to kind of a tipping point of understanding of that conversation. And what I've experienced in the last 3 years of my partnership here at ISTE is so many of the teachers who form the vast majority of our membership pie, or, you know, if you look at that scale, they're saying to us, I can't tell you how many teachers, media library specialists, by whatever title, are saying, I need my leaders, whether it's my principal or my superintendent or my deputy superintendent for curriculum or whatever, I need them to be plugged into ISTE, because if they're plugged into ISTE, they're going to understand and be able to do their jobs more effectively, not in small part due to the ISTE standards for administrators, but they're also then, because of that understanding and engagement, going to be more likely to support my involvement and understanding in that. And as a result then, this whole notion of the shared responsibility of everybody being a part of it then just gets a higher profile.
Right. Talk a little bit more about other opportunities within the kind of the ISTE universe. I think a lot of people, when they think about ISTE, they think about the show. One week out of the year.
Sure.
What happens the rest of the year?
Oh, we go back to Eugene and just take a nap. Well, actually, everyone needs a nap, you know, by this point. You know, one of the conversations I had with the board when I got hired was this conversation about when people think of ISTE, they think of the conference, and that's great because the conference is like no other, and it's a huge, it's something we have to care and nurture very, very carefully. But there was a lot of conversation 3 years ago about how do we continue to increase value to educators 365, and so we spent a lot of time talking about that. You know, things that you might expect, like introducing last year a new more vibrant community platform on our website when we've rolled out the new website, and we continue to improve that over time. But we also are talking about things, we have wonderful professional learning professionals and consultants as part of the ISTE family, and we do so much that, for example, this year we're rolling out at the conference 4 new professional learning packages that are designed for a team and involve a variety of resources of ISTE that you can access. So we're trying to provide more value to folks, certainly that are members, and we want to provide that to them, but because we're, you know, I mean, to speak officially, we're a 501c3, which is different than some nonprofits, which means we have a commitment not only to our members but to the broader community.
Right.
So that expectation of us by our tax status means we have to serve the entire community, and the board of directors is very focused on that. That yes, we are a membership organization, we have a responsibility to those members, but what really drives us is our commitment as an organization to making change happen. So right. We are very committed to increasing member value and impact on the community 365, whether it's through these professional learning packages, whether it's through the work that we do to try to raise awareness of the ISTE standards and essential conditions and how they can be used. For us, there's this sort of driving passion about saying, you know, educators are all over the spectrum in terms of where they are in implementation. My wife just finished her 34th year of teaching, and she would be the first to tell you that, you know, she wouldn't consider herself, you know, at the high end of knowledge on ed tech. Yeah. Although when she got hired in 1981, right when we got married, she was hired into a school district with 1 class per grade, where she was the first new teacher hired in 12 years. So she was by default at that time the ed tech expert, right? With the little apple, right? And so she would tell you that there was a point at which I kind of got lapped on my ed tech knowledge, she said. So the question for us is, how do we provide that opportunity throughout the year? Yeah. How do we connect? A huge part of what we do is connecting people. Whatever your role is, you're a leader in this work that we all do. Right. So connecting people is a huge part of what we do, and so our ability to connect, support, and make people aware who might not be aware of the ISTE standards and essential conditions, that 1, they exist, 2, they can help you avoid having to recreate the wheel, and 3, there are people, your peers everywhere, that are standing by desirous of helping you be successful. Right, right, all right. Well, that's all great stuff. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the work you do. It's just always the highlight of Tech and Learning's year. Thank you. We love you guys. We're so glad you're here. All right, great. Well, thanks again. Absolutely. Thanks,